Hello and welcome to this week's Monday Momentum. I am Laurie McNaughton, your Scale Up Biz Coach. Today I'm going to talk to you about a couple of ways of setting goals that could have a significant impact on the outcome of your business. So let's look at it from this perspective. How many of you have had a time, or maybe you're even experiencing it right now, where at the end of the day, you kind of go, I don't know what I got done today, or the end of the week, I didn't get done what I wanted to get done, or this quarter worse, this year worse, because you've lacked direction, or you've lacked, getting excited or motivated by what it is that you want to accomplish. So I'm going to talk about a couple of models for setting goals that will have a significant impact on, first of all, the accomplishment of said goals, uh, but also get you excited and gain another level of clarity about what it is that you actually want to accomplish. So these two models are smart and fast. And combined together, as it says here, you get real results. And I like these together better than I like them separate, although you could use them separately. I first learned the SMART acronym a few decades ago. The FAST acronym or model I learned, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. I don't remember the exact time. But when you set the right kind of goals, that are really clear, time-bound, flexible, and inspiring to you, they can shift you from being a reactive to more of a leadership role or taking action, if I could put it that way. And in our businesses, let's be honest with each other. We don't want to be in reaction all the time. If I could use another term, reaction is, firefighting. Every time something happens, you go out and put the fire out, whereas setting a goal is setting it up so that you don't have these fires that come up. So we're going to explore these two proven goal setting frameworks, the SMART acronym and the FAST goals. And really together, they help us aim with precision and give us that momentum or motivation that we're looking for. So the first one is the SMART acronym: specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant. Relevant, it could be realistic, and it could be also a result. It doesn't really matter as long as you set your goals properly. When I say, because you see here achievable and relevant, achievable and realistic, they're not really the same thing. They're similar, but not really the same thing. If you look at something like, if I said, I want to make $10 million by the end of 2025, that is neither achievable nor realistic for me. But if you were to take somebody, I want to say Richard Branson, but those would be small numbers for him. But somebody who's got a significantly larger business than I have, it may be both achievable and realistic. But it doesn't really matter. I like the word relevant because it's relevant to what I want to accomplish in my life. So specific, is losing weight specific? Is making more money specific? Is working less specific? No, they're not. They're not specific, and in part, they're not really measurable because, if I said, for instance, I want to lose 10 pounds by, so it's right now what are we're at the end of June. So by the end of October, I want to lose 10 pounds. Specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, and it's relevant because I could lose 10 pounds. If I say, I want to make $500,000 in banked revenue this year, it's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, and it's relevant to the type of work that I do. The other one was, I want to work 10 hours less every week by, I'm going to pick a closer date than that, by say end of August, so September 1st. It's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, and it's relevant. So that smartness helps us build structure and then gives us another level of clarity, which is really vitally important if you're going to accomplish your goals, is the clarity of those goals. You can't just willy-nilly say, I want this year to be better than that last year. That's not, it's not clear and it has no structure to it. But when you do a SMART goal, it creates that structure and gives you another level of clarity. So the other acronym is or model, if you want to call it that, is the FAST goals. I really like combining these two. Frequently discussed. So keeping your goals alive in the regular check-ins. If you own a business, uh, first of all, I guess it doesn't really matter if you're a solopreneur, you work for yourself. I specifically don't work with solopreneurs. I work with businesses that have a minimum of 5 people. 5 to 50 people is my sweet spot, if I could call it that. So here's the thing. You want to keep these things alive. So when you sit down with your team and you set goals, you want to bring them back. You want to remind them. You don't want to go at the end of the year, oh, geez, we fell short on our goals. Well, where are our goals? I don't remember. So frequently discussed, ambitious. So you got to be pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. For me, being a solo coach, if I could call it that, or a sole proprietor coach, however you want to call it that, to get to $500,000, as I said, it's achievable and realistic. It's going to push me outside of my comfort zone, which is awesome because I've already created a model thinking about this from this perspective that could easily get me to that $500,000 in banked revenue in a year. So it's got to push you outside your comfort zone. And this is the beauty of what this has done for me, is because it got me thinking about how could I do more with less? Because I always think about that from a leverage standpoint. How could I do more with less? I want to have a bigger impact. I want to have as big an impact. I just want to figure out how I can be more effective at it for both my clients and for myself. So it's specific. I want to remove away the clarity, and it's transparent. So, share these goals to invite accountability. Now, here's the thing I want to caution you against. Do not share your goals with dream stealers. What do I mean by that? That's the people that when you say, yeah, I want to build my business. I want to go from 5 to 15 employees this year. I want to get to $2.5 million in revenue. And I want to work a 40-hour work week. And I want to take weekends off, and I want to take a 3 or 4 week vacation every year. Those are very specific, measurable goals, but if you share them with a dream stealer, they're going, oh man, you're crazy. That's never going to happen. You can't do that. What are you talking about? Don't share your goals with people like that, period. Don't share goals with people like that. Emphasis on the period. Here's the thing. You can do anything, but it's way more difficult when you have people who are naysayers in your life. So set your SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and frequently talk about them. Make sure they're ambitious, make sure they're specific as well, and make sure they're transparent by sharing them with people who will hold you accountable to achieving those goals. Who will support you to achieving those goals. Who will help motivate you to stay on track to achieve those goals. Don't share them, as I said, with the naysayers and the dream stealers. So the FAST injects energy and accountability into it. So use both of these models to set your goals for the year. And I guarantee you that it'll have a big impact. Now, so you set your yearly goals, then you got to look at it from a quarterly standpoint. And then you got to look at it from a monthly standpoint. And then you got to look at it from a weekly standpoint and a day. So the goals, what you do today has to lead you to where you need to be next week. Next week needs to lead you to where you want to be that month. That month needs to lead you to where you want to be in that quarter. And that quarter leads you to where you want to be fundamentally at the end of the year. So very, very helpful to do this. And here's the thing. I'm going to guess that some of you have heard of the SMART acronym before, and yet you haven't set any SMART goals. Some of you may have heard the FAST acronym before, and you don't use this FAST acronym in your goals. Here's the thing. It's not enough to know. You have to do. The power, and I know you know this when I say this, the power is in the doing. It's not in the knowing. I know what I should do, but it isn't until I start doing it, first of all, that I start to see the different nuances of it, but that I actually get things accomplished. So every day in my journal, can't really see this with the background set up like this, but there's certain things I do. I do this breath work, I do some meditation, and I listen to a podcast that feeds my mind. And then I write down, do what's important. And then I write down the three things that I need to accomplish that day. So one of them for today, for instance, was to conduct the live Monday Momentum. The second is to record the Monday Momentum. And then the next is to finish my webinar for my weekly introduction to the Scale Insanity Accelerator, which is coming up very soon for the small, medium-sized business owners. Okay, so here's what we're going to do here. You're just going to pause the video here, and I really want you to do this. I don't want you to just know it. So pause the video after I'm done talking. And write down what goal, if I committed to it fully, would change everything for me in the next 90 days. What goal, if I committed to it fully, would change everything for me in the next 90 days? Get bold, get specific. This becomes your focal point or your point of focus. Now, here's a really great question to ask yourself. Where am I letting vagueness, fear, or busyness keep me from setting goals or sticking to those clear goals? So shine a light on those things. And, because when you do shine that light, it'll be less or more difficult for you to avoid them. And you really want to just reclaim your life and take advantage of what's possible for you. And it becomes possible when you're smart and you're fast. So I just want to read that over again because I want to make emphasis on something here. Where am I letting vagueness? So I want to lose weight. I want to make more money. I want to work less. That's vague. Fear is, oh my God, what if I do this and it doesn't work? I'm going to be such a loser. You're not a loser. You might make mistakes, but you're never a loser until you fully embrace and give up. Now, the other one is busyness. This is one of the things, because I've worked several hundred business owners over the past 21 years. And the one excuse I don't let them make excuses at all, but the one that comes up the most that I hammer them on is time. I didn't have time. BS, you didn't have time. You had time, you didn't make it a priority. So don't let your busyness get in the way of you accomplishing what you need to accomplish in your life. And then the last question is, how can I make how can I make my most important goals visible, alive, and part of my weekly rhythm? And for me, I remind myself every day, I've got it written on a whiteboard over here. It's just to continuously remind me and bring me back. Because listen, I'm like anybody else. I can fall into gee, what should I do today? If I'm not clear on what it is that I want to accomplish. So make your goals visible. If you have a team of people, put them up in a room where everybody can see them. Sticky notes, screensavers, anything that'll bring those goals to life. Okay, so now you're going to pause the video and answer these questions before you move on to the last slide. Okay, so my hope is that you paused the video and you answered those questions for yourself because they're vitally important. Here's the thing about I've experienced from working with myself, on myself, but also working with hundreds of business owners is the more time you ask yourself really good, deep questions, clarity comes from that. So if you want this week to be different, set a different target. Write one SMART goal and one fast goal, or make them both smart and fast, that one goal, for this week, and share it with someone who will hold you accountable. As I said, not to somebody who's going to be your dream stealer, but somebody who you know will hold you accountable. And with that, I wish you have yourself a fantastic week. And I do look forward to the opportunity one day to be of service.